Well, hello YouTube. Today is part 4 for soundboards, and today is this Berhinger Eurorack UB2442 Pro. So why not stay tuned for more? So today I'll be talking about this soundboard, the Eurorack UB2442 Pro. So let's talk about it. So, as you can see, quite a lot bigger as from the previous soundboards, and the most obvious thing you can see is the number of channels. There is 12 on the soundboard, so yeah, it's quite a lot bigger than 2, 4 or 6, especially with the other soundboards that I've got. But nonetheless, it's pretty much the same, but hugely. So, if you can, we'll start from the top. So, you got your XLRs. So there's 10 of them. There's 10 XLRs for your microphones. And you can use phantom power on this, which is again plus 48 volts. Or your standardized microphones, which is corded, like your normal corded standard mics that has on-off switch. And but I don't use phantom power on this at all, because I've got other connections going in here as well, so such as my MacBook and other bits and bobs that require to go in here. So if I do use phantom power, I'd have to take everything else and use phantom power mics, which I'm not doing because it's such a faff. That's why I use a secondary board for phantom power into here. And then for the last 2 channels, obviously you don't have XLRs. Obviously they're replaced with the input-output track, or 2-track, but that's a completely different story, which I don't use. So that honestly I don't use these anyway, because obviously all the connections that I've got going on, it's worthless having that. And then below the XLRs, you got a line of 1/4" jack inserts and line ins all the way across. Obviously it stops up to here because you got 1/4" jack headphone connections, so you got A and B. So you can have 2 people listening in what the board creates direct. So basically what I do is, if I want USB, the USB player, plug that in and put it into either that one or that one. Whatever works best, it works perfect. But if for my wireless mics, I obviously there, and then plug in that. So easy. It just talks itself. But we're not about to talk about that today. We'll talk about that another time. And then below the quarter-inch jacks, we have the gains. The gains are primarily used for your microphones, and so it doesn't matter what type of microphone it is, it's there for them. And so you can just up it until you get the peak, until it actually clips onto your lighting display, and then you just bring it back down until it's just below, and then you can set your volume. And then just under that you've got your low cut, so it's basically 75 Hz, 18 decibels oct. So don't use those, because I want the full range, not just highs and mids, but the full range. And as you can pretty much tell from just on these knobs all the way across until a certain point, I've already set them up, set the equalizer up. But anything after that, it's all down. So you got your highs, mids, your frequency on the frequency response for the mid ranges, and you've got your lows. But in saying that, the frequency stops here. From that, it's highs, mids, low mids, and lows. So basically those 4 channels are like that, but the first lot has the frequencies. Next down the line is your auxiliary and effects. So again, I don't use any of those because I don't have the external devices for it. Plus, I don't do enough live shows, i.e. bands, to require all that. And I've got pre, which obviously, again, I don't use it because I don't do bands. And so channels 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then, obviously, they get connected up to here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then, so these are the auxiliary sends, which are basically like these here, and then returns. Hardly ever use those anyway, but I use some of the buttons just along here just to correspond with the stuff down here. And then after the auxiliary and effects knobs, you got your pans, which is left and right. If you didn't know what that is, I'm going to say again, left and right is your pan, which is very simple. So if I pan to the left, you're only going to hear music to your left side. If I pan to the right, you only hear music to the right, if you have it in stereo mode. But I have it centered because I've got it in stereo mode. Done. I did have it in mono settings. I've since changed that. And then below those, you've got your mutes. So every single channel is muted. So if I'm doing a live band and I've got most of the channels set up, or all of them in fact, so I have a list of what channel relates to what musician. So if I'm doing a live band and they've taken a break, okay, bearing in mind I use upwards of 4 channels, 2 wireless mics and a USB CD player and my laptop. So I'm just running out of battery, so please bear with me. Right, we are now back with a fresh pair of batteries. So obviously with the band, they've taken a break. I mute what channels they're using, so there's no feedback or anything like that. But I do have a feedback destroyer for my monitors anyway. But I'm thinking about my mains, which I don't have. But my microphones don't go further than the monitors anyway, so it's a win-win situation basically. So, and then the solo buttons, which are those ones, basically it corresponds with the clip light. So if I don't want the flashing in my eyes when I'm DJing or doing live band, I press those buttons in and they all shine red. So it's a constant color. But if I want to see what channel's clipping, I undo all these buttons and I can see which channel is clipping, so I can adjust to what is necessary. And then push those all back in. But the only problem is, which I'm not really fussed about, is that clip light. That clip light has burnt out, but nothing else has. So I'm quite pleased with that, because I use that channel for DJing. Or a USB CD player. So, and then below that button, I've got 3 other buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, and main. Basically, what these buttons correspond to are these sliders and these buttons. Basically, if I want to say, if I'm doing live band and I've got so many subs and I want to cut down on the bass from the bass guitar, so if the bass guitar is on channel 5 here, I can say take off 3 and 4, so that reduces the bass. Or if I wanted to, 1 or 2, doesn't make a difference, it's either or. But then with the main, if I press that, it actually literally shuts off the top section. So any highs, mids and low mids will get cut off. So you're only left with the subs. So I keep that down so I can have the full range. And then comes the sliders. Much better than twizzle knobs. You just slide up, match to where you want to go. So either or. So like when I DJ, I go by ear. So obviously set up and then play the music and then raise the volume to where I think is best at the loudest point, okay, for the room. Then I can control everything here. As you can tell, I can have, I need to sort that out anyway, but I could have my controller sitting right here. Good idea. But anyway, those are the channels. Now, the main faders. I have all 8 buttons pressed for the subs, because I don't know, like maybe later on down the line I may add more amps and more subs to the system. As you can tell, it's called subgroups and then main mix. So if I'm running 4 subs on 1 amp, say a 4 ohm load, so that only requires 1 slider to go up to main. There. Quite simple. If I had another 4 subs to another amp, bring that up to there. But if I had another 2 bass amps with 8 subs, all of those 2 up there. But obviously main mix as well, so they'll be at 0 dB. But obviously I don't have room for all that, but I can have the accessories externally. And then I use this as a guidance for the levels. Normally I do not go higher than 0. If I'm really pushing the system, I do not want to go above 0, unless I want that extra bass on the system that I have. Usually it doesn't go much past 7, which is about borderline for me. And obviously the way I have this set up is connected to the headphone control room. So basically this little knob here is connected to those headphone jacks, and a control room basically monitors that I have on the left side and right side of me. So if I can't really hear what's happening on the main speakers, I turn them up to basically cancel out the level on my main speakers, so it's better for me to listen to. So it's usually not much past that second line, give or take. And obviously it's connected to main mix, subs 3 and 4, 1 and 2, and 2 track. 2 track is that. And 2 track to main, obviously that's going in. If I have like an external CD player, it goes into there, it goes into the main mix. And about the power on 48, that's your standard power, that's your standard 48 volts plus. And then some of these other buttons hardly used except for those 2. And then, yeah, that's just basically most of the stuff that I use. And then, but with the effects, it's here. This is the internal effects modulator, if you like. Obviously, I've tried it. It works with external devices. Basically, I can twizzle that knob to whatever number equates to here, and then press. So if I wanted delay, I go to 50, press it, got your delay, but then that's where it comes in. All this and some of that, it's goes to any one of those channels I choose. So basically for vocals, so vocal was number 6, I select the levels, keep going, test the vocals, make sure it's right, and then away you go. So now it's to the back. No, I'm not going to take the soundboard out because it's all connected at the back. So I'm now in the back. So obviously all the connections in the way because it's all connected. As I said to you, I'm not taking it out as it is. So you've got your standard IEC plug or kettle lead, 100 to 240 volts, 50 to 60 hertz at 47 watts, and you got your power, which I've kept in the on position, so when I power up, it's there. And you got your phantom power, as I said earlier, that I don't use because I use this board for DJing mainly. And then you got your main outputs, and I'm using 2 of them because it's all set up rigged for me, because I use 2 amps as well as 1. Obviously all the connections are varied between the subs and the mains. And you've got the mains in, never used it, don't know what it does, still need to search it. And about the control room, there's your control cables that go into several devices below, feedback and whatever. Then your effects, you got your effects out, which goes to your external devices, and then your foot switch, which you can actually like press the foot switch and activates your effects. Then your subgroups, there's like 8 in total, but I've paired them, so left, right, left, right, left, right, and so on. Instead of, okay, amp 1, amp 2, all the way to amp 8. No point. Then you got your auxiliary returns, there to there. I don't use it, again, I don't have the external devices for. Auxiliary sends, again, no devices. Come on, zoom. But anyway, you get the point. And then, for your direct outputs, never in my life used those because I've no idea what part they play, because it never showed on top. But yeah, that is my biggest soundboard. And then, oh yeah, the second main, I don't go to a second amplifier or anything because I'll need more stuff. The second main output, the jacks, actually goes to here, which is actually, funny enough, goes to that, which goes to a secondary board, which I record audio. Before I used to have like 2 wire junctions, so the right side goes to the amps, the left side goes to the recording. But no, that's single and single. Yeah, so it's, I've got all that stuff. I've got, but yeah, in my, oh, I'll tell you in a bit anyway. And the one thing I forgot to tell you about is the lamp. I can actually have a lamp on there if have a dark situation. But my MacBooks use light, don't they? So, no bother. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I hope to see some comments, likes, shares, new subscribers, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notified when I go live and post new videos. So, on that note, stay well, keep updated. See you next time. Goodbye for now.